Alright guys, welcome back to the non-comic lineups, where I take a basic superhero team or supervillain team from comic books and mix it in of what would it be like if you took characters from outside of comics and put them on a team. That kind of team, what would it be like? And today I'm going to be doing the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts have gone through a lot of changes, but I'm going to be doing what they originally were meant to be. A group of supervillains trying to be superheroes. And I used a lot of bad guys who are now kind of reformed, but a lot of them are kind of reformed, and some of them are still kind of bad. But yeah, anyway, so let's get in with let's start with the leader of the team. You're probably wondering, really, Kimberly from the Pink Ranger? Well, hang on, let me explain. This is actually, I know I'm using an image from the Boom Studios comics of the Pink Ranger, Kimberly the Pink Ranger, but this is just a frame of reference. The actual leader is Corone, aka formerly Astronema, and now formerly also the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger. So yeah, so Corone, the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger from, of course, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. The reason being is because, yeah, she was a former major villain in the In Space series, so I think, and her character evolved to replacing the former Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger and becoming the new Lost Galaxy Ranger. So she would make a great leader. She has great leadership skills. There was a point where she led not only, her monsters, back when she was Astronema, but now, she also led the Rangers at some point. So yeah, again, I'm just using this picture right here as a frame of reference. I'm really talking about, again, Corone, aka Astronema. I already said that. Why am I repeating myself? So yeah, that's kind of it. I was initially going to use Tommy, but then I was like, Tommy got mind control. That's different. He got his powers through mind control, really, and he was a bad guy, but he was still, like, mind controlled, so it wasn't really his fault. But yeah, Corone was Astronema, and she nearly killed the Rangers a few times, but now she's working through it. So yeah, I could see her as a great leader to this team of, like, former rogues some of them are still kind of bad, and, being able to aim them and lead them and guide them throughout this entire, endeavor, really. So yeah. Corone, the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger, as the leader of this Thunderbolts incarnation. Following that is Android 18 from Dragon Ball Z. Now, you're probably wondering, again, why didn't I just use Vegeta? Well, it was kind of like, Vegeta would be, like, low-hanging fruit, really. And I feel like Vegeta doesn't take orders well. Of course, it's fucking Vegeta. Of course he's not going to take orders well. And I decided, why not go with 18? She's still pretty powerful. Yeah, there was a point where she was stronger than Vegeta, and most of the Z fighters, so yeah, she still has a lot of her power to her. So, Android 18 would be like the major powerhouse of this team. She would be the one who would go in and just wreck shit. She's also very intelligent, and I can almost see, like, maybe she could be second in command, really, next to Corone. But 18 is, again, she was one of the major villains. Hell, in one timeline, she murdered everyone alongside 17. So this would be a cool fight. Why did I say fight? This would be a cool member to add to the team, and I was actually kind of thinking of her first, and there's a lot of redeemed villains on Dragon Ball Z, of course Vegeta, then we have Piccolo, Majin Buu, but then everyone seems to forget 18. Yeah, everyone just seems to forget 18. But yeah, I feel like, she would just be, like I said, the team's major powerhouse of the group. She'd also be the one that Corone would go, okay, 18, you're in charge now. And no one would question it. No one on this team would question 18 as like a second in command, because they know that she would just punch someone into oblivion for trying to question her law. Her word of law, I should say. But yeah. 18 Android 18 for this team, definitely. Next up is Shadow from of course Sonic the Hedgehog. Are you even surprised that he's on this team? I mean, yeah, he's again the edgy anti-hero that needs to be redeemed from the darkness. And he swears and carries a gun. Yeah. So yeah, I was kind of thinking, yeah, Shadow would definitely be the team speedster, as well as another major powerhouse right behind 18. If by any of all chance 18 goes down, Shadow would probably be the one to go in and continue the shit wrecking. Anyway, but I feel like out of everyone, I feel like Shadow would be the most antisocial. Come on, it's Shadow. What do you expect? So Shadow would definitely be a great member to this team. Like I said, definitely the team speedster, just going around taking out other enemies, and of course his chaos control. And let's not forget Super Shadow, which I'm pretty sure 18 would go, "You sure he's not a Saiyan?" Are you sure? Okay. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh god, I just sounded like Sans. Anyway, so yeah, with Shadow, he's kind of like the anti-hero. He started out as a villain. I feel like, yeah, he would be a great member to this team, but he wouldn't probably be the most sociable among the rest of the team, you know what I mean? He probably would just be like, "I'm just here to save the world. The rest of you can just fuck off and die." That would literally be his mantra. Just, everyone else would just be like, you all suck compared to me. Anyway, moving on. So next up is Peridot from Steven Universe. Yeah, I know, I use Peridot a lot. Well, this time it actually makes sense for Peridot to be on a team like this, because yeah, she was a former villain. And again, I was considering Lapis Lazuli, but I thought about it, I was like, really, Lapis was more about trying to get home than she was about killing the gems. They just antagonized her into doing it, really. So I kind of thought I was like, yeah, Peridot would... If Jasper was redeemed, she'd probably be on this team. But, yeah, Peridot, of course, Peridot would be the team's tech whiz, as well as, of course, we know her metal powers are slowly growing in strength. So she'd be a great member on the field, as well as back at their base, where she would just be talking all the technical jargon, and of course everyone would not take her seriously because, well, a small Perry. Like, what more do I need to say? Small Peridot. But yeah, she would also be the one there is a certain members at the end of this team I'm going to talk about that she would have the most fun terrorizing and antagonizing. And I'm going to talk about them at the end. And if you know villains in your anime or just animation in general, then you probably know who's going to be on this team. Anyway, moving on. So, yeah, Peridot would be a great member of this team. Like I said, she'd be like the science member, as well as, on the field, she could just use her metal powers. And I could see her really interested in the next member of this team, who, the moment I thought about this, I was like, yeah, he definitely has to be here. And that person is Dingo from Gargoyles. Yeah, Dingo from Gargoyles. Again, there are so many former villains in the Gargoyles universe. Of course, we had, Kai from the Japan clan. You had Fang from the Labyrinth clan. There were a lot of former villains in there. There was a lot of redeemed villains. I was even thinking Macbeth, really. But I thought about it, and I was like, no, Dingo would probably be the best suited. A, because, he could be the one who does all the real dirty shit. And, get over it the best. Dingo also has the Matrix on his side. The nano collective being that is attached to his armor and can actually reach out and attack. It can actually detach from his body and, attack as well. So he's literally two people in one. So he's a double threat, and I feel like Peridot would be excited to see, she'd be excited to play with, to tinker with, Matrix, and Matrix would just go, "Please, stop, you small little fool." And Peridot would just want, like, "Oh, I want it," and everyone would be like, "No, Perry." But Dingo, again, even without Matrix, he's still a great hand-to-hand fighter. He also carries, of course, gun. He has his original Dingo Iron Man suit, and of course, he's actually a pretty good sharpshooter and, like I said, hand-to-hand fighter. So again, he would be a great asset to this team. He's also a great tactician, so I could definitely see Corone going to Dingo for a lot of the plans. So, yeah, definitely he would be the one coming up with a lot of the plans and strategies to go in and fight the real bad guys. So, yeah, definitely. Like, again, when I thought about this team, I was like, oh, yeah, Dingo needs to be on this team. So, definitely, I was like, yeah, definitely Dingo is on this team. And again, I was thinking, there were a ton of Gargoyles villains that I redeemed villains on there, and I was like, oh, yeah, but Dingo, though. Anyway, so let's move on. So next up is Sagat from Street Fighter. Sagat, again, was a former member of Bison's group, Shadow Lu, and but now he has changed his ways and is now leader of a village of people. He's kind of like Black Panther, really. He's kind of, he's the king of a small group. I think it sometimes changes in the games where it's a small village or it's a tribe. It's one of those two things, really. It's really one of either two things, really. But yeah, Sagat would be is an excellent hand-to-hand fighter, and I feel like he would join this. He would be one of the first members to really join this team because he really wants to redeem himself for all of his past sins. So Sagat would definitely, want to sign up with this team to, protect those, especially those of his people. So he would definitely, when Corone goes to look for more skilled, for fighters and people who want to make a change in their life, Sagat would probably be the, one of the first, if not the first, who would just go, I'm in. But yeah, Sagat's very honorable. He's also an excellent hand-to-hand fighter. I could just see him and Corone fighting back-to-back, or even sparring. That would just be an awesome sight to see. So, definitely Sagat. So, next up is the next two members are actually going to be four, but they're more of pairs. And starting off that pairing is Claire Stanfield, aka Vino, aka the Rail Tracer, and Chane Laforet from the anime Bakano. There was a part of me that really wanted to have Isaac and Miria on this team, but I was thinking about it, nah, there's another team I already got in there, and it'd be redundant if I had them. You're probably figuring out who the last two members are. But anyway, with Chane and Vino, Claire Stanfield, I'm just going to call him Vino. With Vino and Chane, these two would be the team's major assassins. These guys would be like their Hawkeye and Black Widow. These two would go in, kill everything, and then come out just covered in blood. Like, they would just walk out going, yeah, it's all done. Because these two, even though they're not really redeemed. They're not necessarily redeemed because they don't really see themselves as villains, but they've done some really horrible shit for people. But I feel like they would be willing to make it, Corone would approach these two because, one, she would want their skills, and two, Vino and Chane, they kind of, they're not really bad guys, but they still want to, from the way they play out in the anime, I don't know how their story goes on, but I do know they do get married later on. But yeah, it kind of does sound from the anime that they want to make a change in their life, so maybe this could help, and they could still curve those bloodthirsty tendencies they have, so they would probably be like, yeah, so long as we get to horribly kill people. So, yeah, again, these would be the team's assassins as well as their stealth members. They would definitely just go in, kill everything, come out, and just be like, did it. Yeah. But definitely, Chane and Vino would make great additions to this team. The last two members, you've probably figured out by now, maybe they probably wouldn't be for the best, but let's see. And finally, our last two members are Jesse and James from Team Rocket. Let's hypothetically take out all the Pokemon, and yeah, it's just Jesse and James without the Pokemon, and even Meowth wouldn't probably go on the missions. He'd just hang out at the base and just poke fun at everybody. But yeah, the point with Jesse and James is that they would be the team's scouts. They would go on ahead, scout out, and then come report back. Or as Peridot would call them, they're the team's canaries. They're the ones who would go into the bad situations, get blown up or stabbed or shot, then have to come back and report. That would be literally it. That's the more apt. That is the more apt. That is the more apt way to describe them. They're the team's canaries. But yeah, they're both pretty small. Between them, they've got a whole brain. So Jesse and James at this point, also in the show, they're more of a danger to themselves than anything else. Then again, I haven't watched Pokemon in years, so yeah. But as I remember them, Jesse and James were pretty much more of a danger to themselves than anything else. And they do, they actually do help. They actually do more good than harm. So yeah, they would probably be the ones who are still like, we're bad guys, kinda, we suck. And yeah, they would also be the ones, like I said, Peridot would be teasing the most because she would love just messing with them. Whether, tampering with their stuff or sending them into missions. She'd also be the one arguing with Jesse. I could see Peridot and Jesse definitely having a lot of spats between them. Oh man, but yeah, these two would be, like I said, go in, get blown up, come back and be like, yeah, it's not safe. And then they'd have to do it all over again. They'd also be if there needs a trap to be sprung, send in Jesse and James. Oh, what's that? They got snipers? Send in Jesse and James. There's a giant robot over the hill. Go have Jesse and James check it out. That would be their whole thing, because they're literally good at nothing else. But yeah, they'd also be the ones driving. I could also see them like as another form of way to help this team. They'd also be the team's drivers. They'd also be the ones driving all the tech, and maybe even, because it does seem like they know what they're doing when they build those Magikarp things, those giant Magikarp submarines. I think they built it, or did they buy it? I can't remember. But they're good at fixing it, I guess. So they'd also probably be the team's engineers, probably. So there you go, guys. There is my non-comic Thunderbolts team. Probably my biggest team since my non-comic Midnight Suns lineup. But you guys tell me, what do you guys think of this non-comic Thunderbolts team? And as always, I'm always excited to hear who you guys would have on your team. It can be bigger or shorter than this, of this non-comic Thunderbolts team. But yeah, really interested to see what you guys have to say about this. And once again, if you think a character should have been on here or not at all, it's totally fine. No ill will against you. I'm always excited to see what you guys come up with in terms of character, of these kind of team-ups. This is the whole point, is like to get a discussion going. So yeah, really interested in, and again, there were so many other characters I really wanted to choose from, but I feel like this is the best team. I feel like, yeah, this would be a really kick-ass team to see. But anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.